Okay, well, welcome to Talk Tennis. Today, our guest has like an insane bio. I tried to just do a quick little recap, but I'm going to say her name first. Welcome, Bill Riddle. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And then literally I just wrote down he has over 30 years of coaching experiences. Let's try that again. He has over 30 years of coaching experience at all the levels. Plus he's been director of tennis, co-host of a radio show, keynote speaker, has an awesome tennis social media. He helps raise money for nonprofits with a big tournament. I mean, literally, what have you not done?
There's a lot of things I haven't done. Still on the to-do list, but no, I've been very, very fortunate to have a really good and so far long career in the tennis industry, and just kind of blessed. And I say all the time, I have the best job in the world because I get to do tennis. I mean, that's what I do.
I love it.
So,
well, yeah, as one tennis in the industry to another, we are lucky that we get to do what we love day in and day out, and it shows usually on our faces and with our energy, right. And it's obvious that you love the sport. So give me a little bit of background on how tennis came to be for you.
I for sure I took a very non-traditional pathway into tennis growing up, kind of out in the country outside of Nashville. Music City, where everything was back in those days, it was very country, and we played every sport back in those days, and tennis was just something I did because I picked up my dad's old wooden racket, none of the ones back here, but I had a racket similar to that, and I used to hit tennis balls off the side of the wall of the house. Luckily we had a brick wall, and it was crazy because the farm, we literally lived in the middle of there was a tobacco field across the street. There was like a cornfield. There was a bean field, and tractors were up and down the road. And I'm out there hitting tennis balls and on the side of the wall. And that's where I got started, and just fell in love with it. But always played other sports, and I had an auto accident. Probably the best thing ever happened to me. I had an auto accident my senior year in high school, and I wasn't going to play football or any other sports that I really wanted to, and luckily found my way into tennis from a gentleman who gave me a part-time job at a club. And literally that's 37 years ago, something like that. I was so lucky to have, an opportunity, and realize that this was something that I think I was meant to do, and just absolutely love every day of it, and couldn't imagine doing anything other than what I get to do.
Wow, that's crazy. That's such a cool story, and it is a bit more non-traditional in the sense where you're not like, oh, I was groomed to be the next top player in my section, and then I played college. Right. Yeah, so it's actually really fun to hear that perspective. Talk to me about your first entry into the tennis industry as a teaching pro, or whatever that first job that you had was.
Yeah, it's this one is kind of a full circle little story, and I'll try to be quick with it. But I took a part-time job, and back then, you looked at the paper and you'd find these jobs, and found a job in the paper. They were looking for someone to work at this tennis club. It was a 4 indoor, 3 outdoor court tennis club in Nashville, kind of close to the airport. And turns out my pediatrician growing up as a kid actually built the club because he was a avid tennis player, and he built it right behind his office, and then donated it to the YMCA. And I called this guy, and I was like, hey, I really would I'll do anything. I'll just pick up balls. I'll do anything. And he hires me. And about a month or two later, he took a job at another club and said, hey, you're going to stay here, and they're going to find somebody to replace you, and just kind of keep doing what you're doing. And back then I just was a sponge. I was just always listening and learning, and just watching. And I became the head pro there, spent 5 years at that club, and got a grant to go to the old teachers conference in Washington, D.C. The USTA was, they gave me this grant, paid for me to go. And this was early on in that period. And I just felt like I was where I was supposed to be. And Yeah, I mean, that was the club, and I spent 5 years there. Learned, I made tons of mistakes. Luckily, the members it was a seasonal club, and they gave this young guy a chance to try things and do things, and like I've just absorbed stuff. And come the full circle part of this is the gentleman that hired me at that club. His name is Norm Kalkoff. He was a USPTA pro and amazing player, and I took the job at Martin Methodist College, which is now the University of Tennessee Southern, back in 2018. And a year later, we were celebrating our 150 year anniversary of the school.
Wow.
And come to find out, Norm had played tennis there and was literally Mr. All World. And about a year after I took the job, they were doing this big celebration, and they brought him in to do this medal ceremony of this Hall of Fame induction. And there I am as the new coach at a school where he was, amazing at, and giving him this award when he gave me a chance all these years ago to just get into tennis. And it's just kind of surreal sometimes still when I think about it or talk about it. It's just, you never know what you're going to do or how you're going to impact somebody when you give them a chance. And, without that guy, without that club, without the car accident, I'm not here talking with you.
That's crazy. That's really cool. I have like goosebumps hearing your story. I love when everything's meant to be and it all works out, and sometimes we don't see it until later, and that's amazing. So I'm going to give you a little backstory on me real quick, and because I really want to talk about coaching, and you're so involved. I coached college tennis in my 20s, and then I left it and said I was never going to coach a team again.
Right.
And then last year I started coaching a high school team, and it was kind of one of those, like, we could write a movie about our success and the drama that we had and the adversity and it was just like picture perfect. Well, not picture perfect, but the goods and the bads it was an amazing season. So we're in another season this year, and it's a little harder for me. There's some different things that I'm dealing with, and this season, I'm not going to lie, I've been like, I remember some of the tough parts of coaching that I did not miss that have come back. Yeah. So I'm curious about your trajectory with coaching, and like if it's just always been that for you, or like has there been times where you're like, nope, not doing it, I'm done, I can't handle it? Talk to me a little bit.
I think we all have those moments, I once again, I think I'm kind of lucky that the facility that I was at back in the late 80s, early 90s was indoor, and Belmont University, which used to be NAI back then, would come and practice there. And the gentleman that was the head coach was like, look, I need an assistant coach. And so like, I'm already here for practice. So I got that experience and started. And after a year or two, a head coaching job came open at Fisk University, which is a HBCU school here in Nashville. And the athletic director knew me and said, hey, would you ever consider it? And I was like, I'll try anything,
Yeah.
I don't know how good I'm going to be, but I'm going to give it a go. And did that for a couple of years, and enjoyed the college side of things, learned a lot, really lucky into getting to do a lot of different things, and have coached middle school, high school, college, and over these many years. And from 2000 to around 2008, I was at Cumberland University coaching college tennis. And after I left there, I was like, I think I'm kind of done with the coaching thing, as to what you said.
Mm-hmm.
And when this job came open at Martin Methodist, which is now UT Southern, really wasn't looking for an opportunity to go back into college, but I went down to visit, and it just had a great vibe. And once again, it's one of the things where I felt like this is where I'm kind of supposed to be. And I will tell you this, it's completely different now. Kids are different, night and day different than they were in the early 90s. It's just a new set of challenges, but driving home literally last night from Lexington, Kentucky, where our team, some of our players were playing in the ITA regionals, I'm just driving along, and I'm thinking, man, I'm just so happy to be here. I mean, we had some success, and it was a long 4 days. We had 3 days of rain, but I'm just still thinking, gosh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
If you're not doubting yourself sometimes, then you're probably not, really into it. You're not really passionate about it. I think, but I think every coach goes through that period. Gosh, you hear the Nick Saban story. He just felt like he wasn't connecting, and it wasn't where he needed to be. And a guy like that at the very top of the world of football steps away. That speaks volumes to all of us that are coaching whatever sport you're coaching.
Yeah, no, totally. A lot of what you're saying resonates. That's awesome. So talk to me a little bit about your style on the court with these teams, and then even individually. I can probably guess that you're a very positive coach, and I love that. But tell me what your players would say about your coaching style.
That's a great question. I think I try to be just completely fair. I understand there's good days and bad days. I think what I try to do is get across to all the players I've ever worked with is communication is going to be key. Like, if you can't be honest with me and I can't be honest with you, then it's not going to work at all. Meaning whether you're injured, you're tired, or like today, I'm just not there.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to say that. And then also, I think they would probably say that, he wants us to enjoy this journey, because, now back in the college ranks, it's really interesting because, 4 years, you're done, and then how many of those kids keep playing tennis? They take a break from it, and then hopefully one day they come back to it. But, every year it's like, gosh, I'm not going to see these 3 guys anymore after, May, or,
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about, yesterday, it's some of our guys' last ITA tournament, fall tournament, and so, enjoying the journey, enjoying the practices, enjoying the time together. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but I think at the end of the day, in 10 years, you want to remember all these great experiences you had, because you're not promised a chance to keep playing anywhere at any level, and injuries will get you sometimes, and so just enjoy it. I think that's the thing, and if you're doing that, if you're in a good place mentally, then we can get some wins.
Yeah.
I know we can get some wins, but I see too many juniors, too many players that they just hate being out there. They hate practicing, they hate playing, and I'm like, well, then why are you doing it? But that's the same thing to be said for people in their jobs. They hate going to their job, and you say, well, why are you doing it? Well, I got to do it. I need the money, or I need this. Life's just too short. You just got to find a way to be happy about, your time and what you're doing. So hopefully that's what they say. And, we've had some good success, and we've had some wins here and there. And, hopefully at the end of the day, people just have enjoyed the journey.
Yeah, I think that's a good reminder. I had 2 players last week that I literally walked on the court, and I was like, let's have some fun, and gave them a big smile, and they both had tears welling up in their eyes, and I'm like, or not.
Yeah, oh yeah.
or not. But yeah. It's like, it's tough some days, because I feel like there's almost like a fear of letting go of like the outcome and being able to be like, yes, we're going to have fun.
Right.
And some of these players are just so attached to the loss and the winning. And like, I'm working with high school kids right now. So I most recently this past week asked a couple players like, hey, how'd the match go? And they just instantly told me they played horrible because they lost. And I was like, right. Wait, tell me about the match. And they're like, actually, I played really well. And I was like, so can we shift that narrative? Like, come on, you guys. Like, you can lose. You're going to learn so much from losing. We're going to lose so many times.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be okay. Yeah.
They're going to be fine. And, I think sometimes, too, the players, and fortunately or unfortunately, I work with a lot of players from all over the world, you know, and you've got all these different cultures kind of coming together. And, some of these kids that are coming up, they're not really allowed to have fun in tennis. It's very, very serious. And not that I'm not taking anything away from it. It's just there has to be a level of fun. And I tell people this all the time, they ask, what tournament should I go watch, and where should you sit, and when should you go to these tournaments? I said, you really want an amazing experience, you go to any tournament and go straight out to the practice courts, and you sit there all day with a notepad and you just soak it in.
Yeah.
And watch what the pros do and watch how they play and practice. And I feel that's important, because even those guys and gals at some point, and there's a lot of money on the line, they have to have some fun.
Yeah.
They have to let the steam off, and they have to kind of just enjoy themselves. And if they can do it, you can do it in college. You can do it in high school. You can do it with your USTA league match. You just have to find a way, or allow yourself that opportunity to go and do that.
Yeah. Look at Sabalenka right now. I feel like her team is like such a fun little crew. And it's like you can tell when they're at the tournament, like if it's going to be a good tournament or not for her based on how many like selfies and poses she's doing and her dancing. Yeah. So that's, totally.
I mean, the ride is only so long, so you better enjoy it.
I might write that one down. The ride is only so long. So true. But in general.
Yeah.
You hit on the fact that you're working with a lot of players from all kinds of backgrounds, and in your bio it said that you've been all over the world. So talk to me a little bit about your experience traveling and coaching in different countries, and how that's maybe how other places differ from the United States.
Yeah, it's really once again, I say, I'm incredibly fortunate to have had the travels, and I enjoy traveling. I always have people say, "Oh, I want to go." I'm like, "Yeah, you do, but do you want to, miss flights and be up at 2 a.m? And I mean, it all looks great on social media, right? Until you do it, and then you're like, "Whoo, this is tough." But it's part of the ride, and the kids that I see all over the world, and I've been lucky from China to parts of Europe and Australia, New Zealand. We're all the same. They're all trying to make it. They're all trying to figure it out. They're all, we're all dealing with the same dimensions of the courts and the same pressures and whatnot. I think, for me, it's just been, once again, just connecting with them, trying to communicate. And when I say communicate, I kind of remember back, was in Shanghai, China, probably about this time a few years back. Right before COVID. I might have been the guy who brought COVID back to the States, because it happened right after I got back here. But no, I mean, I spent a week there with 300 something coaches, and I don't speak Chinese, and they didn't speak English, but we had this common factor of a tennis ball, and I had a translator, and I mean, I learned a lot that week. I've been a couple of times, but to me, that was, once again, it's tennis, making contact with the ball, hitting the ball in the court, finding targets, all those things. It doesn't matter what language you speak. It doesn't matter where you come from. We literally all have the same thing in common in tennis. And it's just finding a way to, get your broken English or broken Spanish or Chinese to get the point across. But yeah, just really lucky in that. I really enjoy the aspect of me learning these other cultures, how other coaches do it. So as much as I'm trying to go and share, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm very much just soaking it in still.
Yeah.
It's fun for me to listen and learn, to the good, the bad, the ugly. And hopefully those experiences and make me better when I get back here, and then I can share even more. So
I love that. And to hit on that, are some of the people that you're right now kind of absorbing and learning from, and whether it's in tennis or outside of tennis?
Well, I mean, I think there's always some amazing people to just kind of just sit in a room and just listen. I mean, I love listening to Craig O'Shaughnessy talk about the statistics of tennis, and he's always so spot on. And I've spent a lot of time with that guy, and he's always really good and gives you a different perspective. Nestor Burnaby is a buddy of mine who is up in Providence at Providence Tennis Academy, and the guy's just a wealth of knowledge, and he's so practical, and he makes everything so relatable for the players and the people that come to him. And I've actually had some of our players from the team that have gone on to work at his summer camps and things like that. And, they come back better people. And so, I mean, I think there's a lot of them. Emma Doyle out there. I mean, she's so good at finding ways to motivate people, connecting, communicating. Yeah, just there's so many. I think when you're in this industry, coaching, the hard part is getting out of your little bubble. Get out of your town, go somewhere else. And they talk about coach education and conferences and workshops and things like that. And sometimes they kind of get a bit of a negative rap of like, well, I don't want to go sit and listen to this person talk about what they, are talking about. But the reality is, it may jog something in your mind to go a different direction. Or most of the time, these conferences and whatnot, I just go and hang out in the hallway, around the bar, around the food, those type of things where people are talking and gathering, and you sit down and you kind of break bread or have a meal or a drink with somebody, and you gather so much good information from all over the place that it's practical. So that's what I try to do. And everybody's got something to offer. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got something to offer. And I mean, I think that's the biggest piece for me.
That's really cool. And to break down your coaching style even further, because this is something that I like to learn about people, is what kind of coach are you? Are you leaning into technical side? Are you doing more confidence building? Are you talking more strategy on the court, depending on how you play or how your opponent's playing? What is it? If I'm struggling, I'm like 2-5 down. What are you going to say to me?
I mean, for us, I mean, it was just like this weekend. I mean, we went from playing outdoors to an indoor fast court, and and you literally, not that you're changing your technique, but you just got to change your mindset of I've got time now, I have no time. For us, it's really big targets, being practical, make them play balls, because I sit there, even when I'm not coaching, I'm sitting there watching, because I always have this little notepad with me, and I'm just kind of like throwing stuff from my head, because my head never really turns off. So I'm always throwing it down on paper so that maybe I free up a little room. But it's really just goes back to the basics. Making a lot of balls, being of the mindset that I'm going to stay out here on the court as long as it takes, whether that's 2 balls or 20 balls. I may have to suffer a little bit. I may have to grind a little bit, and I'm okay with that because I brought a lunch. I'm good to go. Cleared the schedule. And, I think that's it, and sometimes you're going to get off the court in an hour. Sometimes it could be 3 hours, and, being willing to put in that effort. That's, for me, that's it. I mean, technique is important. Yes. But that's kind of coming up when you get to match day. Look, it's about making balls. I got to put more balls in the court than he or she does. And, I've got to find a way to make that happen. Finding a way for me is kind of like the key. I got to find a way.
I love that. And you mentioned doubting. If you're not doubting yourself as a coach, maybe you're, it's not there for you. But because I am a very similar coach. I'm definitely big on confidence, and we've put in the work. You know how to do this. I say big targets all the time. Be the last one to make the mistake. And I'm like hearing you, and I'm like, okay, I'm not so far off. But you sometimes say it, and they give you that blank stare, and you're like, I don't know. Or again, or not.
I think sometimes too. I mean, I guess more times than not. I mean, the player has the answer.
Yeah.
It's just, are they willing to say it and do it? Are they just willing to put the ball in the court where we would like for it to be, somewhere safe, not on the line, because we all know the lines are out, right?
Yeah.
At every level. They just have to. They know what they're supposed to do. It's just getting them to the point of saying, "Okay, I'm going to do it."
Absolutely. I'm gonna continue to be a little selfish here, but
no.
This week
we're friends now.
Yeah, we are. I mean, I know, literally, Sophie was like, "I'm so excited for you to talk to Bill," and I was like, "I know, girl, me too." Yeah. But I know, but literally, I'm like, wait, we need to go hang out.
Yeah.
Like I fly out and be like, hey, I told you we're friends. But this week, my team is actually hosting we call it Together We Fight Cancer match. So
Right.
nonprofit organizations and kind of working for something bigger than ourselves on the tennis court is huge to me. And I saw in your
Yeah.
bio, you also, I think it's called the Music City Tennis Invitational. And you again, mine's small scale, yours is goals. So like talk to me
Yeah.
about this and what you've done and all the funds you've raised and the good cause.
Well, I was just once again really lucky in that in 1973, a group of music industry people who love tennis said, "Hey, why don't we get together and have this tennis tournament?" It was a little small club, 4 tennis courts, and basically you had to be invited. You had to be inside the music industry, singers, songwriters, producers, from the record labels. Back then, and they got together and they started this little thing. Patsy Bradley, who worked for BMI, which is a publishing company here in Nashville. Most people don't know what the publishing is, but it's basically they have the rights to the songs and the songwriters' lyrics. But she didn't even play tennis, but she worked with these people from the industry to get this off the ground. And I think, if I remember correctly, in 1973 they raised about $1,700, which
Okay.
was that's a lot of money back in 1973.
Yeah.
And the tournament just kept going on and on and on. And around 1995, maybe early 90s, Fran Galante, who's a was a dear friend of mine who passed away a few years back from cancer. Her husband, Joe Galante, I mean, they both played tennis. Joe was head of Sony Records, and she asked me to come on board and help out. And I just started with the committee helping, and one thing led to another, and we found ways to kind of what I wanted to bring to the tournament was not make it a tennis tournament anymore. Let's try to make it an event. And
Mm-hmm.
events are anything we go to nowadays. Football games, they're really events. U.S. Open is not just tennis; it's an event because
Mm-hmm.
you've got all the food and all the extras that make it special for people. And so we were lucky. I mean, I got them on convinced to let me try a few different things. We added a pro-am. We added a 1 point tournament. We started having more music. We did a songwriter night at the Bluebird Cafe, and we started kind of piecing together other things so that we could not only extend the life of this tennis tournament, which is only 3 days, or 2 days back in those times, to more throughout the year. So and we could raise more money. We could help more people, and I think that was the big piece. And for many, many years, probably 20, 25 years, I served as a co-chair or the tournament director for the event. And this past year was our 50th
Wow.
year of running this same tournament. And we were so lucky in that, being in Nashville, all the music industry people, they're your neighbors. They live down the street, and the record labels are here and the studios are here. And we were really, really lucky in just getting great people together. And I think whatever you do, I don't care if it's a charity tennis tournament or a backyard barbecue. I mean, when you just get good people together, amazing things can happen. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we did that for so long. We've actually kind of transitioned kind of going forward. We're no longer the Music City Tennis Invitational because invitation really kind of scares people sometimes. And we thought, let's get to this milestone of 50. And now it's just the Music City Tennis Challenge. And, we're kind of adapting because unfortunately in Nashville, we've lost a lot of tennis courts,
Mm.
like some other cities. And tennis has been one of those things where pickleball has picked up some courts, and clubs have struggled and things like that. So we're kind of changing directions. And my goal is to keep it going, keep people playing tennis, keep raising money for our charities. We've partnered with the Tennessee Breast Cancer Coalition, who the money we raise it stays right here in Middle Tennessee and directly impacts people that could be your neighbors. And so yeah, we've done that and just kind of made a transition. But yeah, it's once again so many great people
Mm-hmm.
over the years. all came together because of a tennis ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, uh, you know, just Hillary Scott from Lady A. I mean, I remember her playing tennis before she made it big as Hillary from Lady Antebellum, and all these people. And one year we had Billy Ray Cyrus just kind of drop by at our little player party, and only in Nashville can you have some of the things that we've been able to have. But every city, every event, every place has got something that's unique to them that they can latch onto and create more of an event. And we're just been very lucky with it. And I've been super excited about helping, and my kids all played in it and grew up and learned to volunteer, and from day one. So it's just been a kind of family affair thing.
That's awesome. And my wheels are turning because we live in like wine country out here. And I was actually at a pickup party on Friday, and the winemaker owner is battling cancer for the third time. And just like the timing of it all, because this week's ours and there's some stuff going on in the world where you're just like, oh man. And now you're just inspiring me, because I'm like, shoot, okay. I'm like taking notes. Like, this is okay, watch out, world. We're coming.
Come on.
Let's go.
We'll do it.
We'll do East Coast, South,
East Coast,
Southern.
West Coast.
Yeah, East Coast, West Coast. Yeah. Oh, that's
not
awesome.
like the old rap game, though, okay? We need gang signs.
No.
Biggie's not coming back. No, we're just going to go, keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple. Well, you brought up a topic that I was challenged to bring up with you. And pickleball. Let's talk about it.
Come on.
I don't know. Well, we might be on the same side. I don't know. And I shouldn't say it too loud, because we do have Pickleball Warehouse here.
Yes. Yeah.
But I am the perpetual tennis player that loves to hate pickleball. As someone that has played pickleball tournaments, did it all a couple years back, but now I'm tennis ride or die. Get off of our courts. Go build your own. Uh-oh.
Well, no, I was the guy probably 8 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, when it started kind of coming on the scene, that was like, I hate this game. I got introduced to it. I was speaking at a USPTA conference in maybe Kansas City, and one of the activities one night, we were like after the speakers were done, we were having like, kind of a social, and we went to this indoor bubble, and they set up pickleball, and we were playing it, and I was like, I hate this. I mean, it sucks. It was the noise, and inside the bubble made it even worse.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, this is horrible. And then it started growing and growing. My son started playing, who's also a tennis player, played college tennis. He started playing it and was loving it. And I went a few times, and I was like, I don't know. I just don't really get it. And then it really kind of clicked. I went to this little show up day where people could play for free and for fun. And I walked in, and there was a guy standing at the door when you walk in, and he had a clipboard, and he said, hey, would you sign this? Because we want to take those 8 tennis courts outside and turn them into pickleball courts. And I said, oh, I'm not the guy that you want signing this or even telling me about it, because I'm going to go head to toe with you to fight the other way. And I really kind of had this like light bulb moment in that, me hating or not really loving pickleball was not going to change it. It was coming. Right. And this was 8 years ago or whatever. And I just thought, come on, I need to embrace this. I need to figure out, one, how I can make money off of it. Right. Which is every tennis pro says the same thing. How do I generate money off of pickleball? Right. Or then how could I service my members if this is something that is happening? And I remember a few years back that I played in the senior pickleball Olympics, right? And it was like 500 people that signed up for this thing. They had 30 something courts in Chattanooga. And once again, I'm just kind of like sitting outside the ring there, just kind of watching all these people. And I had run into former tennis players, right? Mm-hmm. And this is all 50 to 100 years old, right? And so I'm thinking about this, thinking, well, all these people that are playing, if they're not playing pickleball, what would they be doing?
Right.
Well, they probably physically can't play tennis anymore or play at the level they would like. So they're going to be sitting on the couch, right? And so once again, kind of a light bulb moment for me is that if they're not playing tennis for whatever reason, we can still get them on board at our club, our facility. if nothing else, we just keep them active,
Yeah.
right? And so that's for me is the thing. And I've actually we kind of branched more into also into paddle or padel, depending on what you want to call it. But we've got a new club in Nashville that's got 6 courts. I've done the paddle certification, play it, I love it. It's the reality is we used to say that tennis is easy. You should just get into tennis and play tennis. And now we're looking around going, wait a minute, tennis is crazy hard.
Yeah, it's
It
not
is
easy.
to be decent. It's very difficult. To be really good, it's impossible. But to be good in pickleball, hour and a half, you can play.
Yeah.
Um, so I think there's a place for everything. Definitely, the industry has changed. You look at what USPTA did with their rebranding and that
Mhm.
encompassing all racket sports. PTR did the exact same thing a few years ago. I think we just have to, whether we like it or not. And I've heard from a lot of my buddies that are old school, diehard USPTA guys that are like, I don't like the name change, or I don't like this, or I don't like that. I'm like, look, it's not about us. We've kind of had our time. We're moving towards the end of our careers. What is this going to look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road? And look, if there is a pro paddle team in Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas. So if they can support a pro team in paddle courts in Arkansas, right? They just got running water like 6 years ago. So if they can support paddle, then the rest of us need to start embracing it. And yeah, I mean, I think all tennis coaches have to understand you're not a tennis coach anymore. You're a racket sports professional. If you want to work in this industry, if you want to run a club or facility, you have to embrace it because it's coming. You don't have to go out and play it. You don't have to love it, but you have to understand it. I don't know if
It's
that's the answer
coming.
you're looking
No,
for,
no,
but
no. No, you're good. That totally makes sense. And this rebrand with the USPTA into I keep messing it up. RS,
I know.
paddle or racket sports.
RSPA.
RSPA. That's
Yeah,
it. I keep
RSPA. Yes.
adding a letter. And I'm actually I'm not going to lie. I'm excited for paddle to grow a little bit. I do appreciate a little more of the thinking. It challenges my brain a lot. It's hard, man. It's hard, but it's fun. What do you think about these paddle and pickleball coming into high school athletics and college athletics? And do we think that we will see that hit like Division 1? Do you think we're going to be seeing scholarships for these coming soon?
Yeah, I mean, my athletic director, I keep her on her toes a lot with some of the things I bring to her, talk about. And a couple years ago, I said, look, we need to be thinking about, do we want to be in position for college pickleball because it's coming?
Yeah.
And a lot of people kept saying, no, it's not coming, it's not coming. But you look this fall, there's 137 college pickleball teams. Now, some are more funded than others. Drury University, and forgive me, I don't even know where it's at, but it's somewhere in Middle America, right?
Yeah.
I know that their head coach stepped down from tennis. He's now the pickleball coach. They expanded. I think they have 12 courts on campus. They
Wow.
have scholarship athletes. When I was in Australia back in January, I actually talked to a couple of potential pickleball recruits for us as well.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I think it's not coming. It's already here, whether we
Mhm.
realize it or not, whether we, are happy about it or not. It is definitely here, and it's continuing to grow. UTR Sports, they've embraced it. Duper's gotten behind it. A lot of the paddle companies are helping these universities and schools launch their teams or helping them with equipment. Yeah, I mean, it's here. We're going to see it. I don't know what's going to happen with NCAA or NAI and those schools. I think it's probably going to be like some of the other sports. We have a clay target or shooting team at our university, and some of these sports they compete with everybody just under a different umbrella.
Mhm.
So you're not really Division 1 or 2 or 3 or NAI. You're just part of this other organization, and I think it's going to go that route first, and then find its way. Just too much money behind it right now.
Yeah.
Too many people would love to see it. I think the downside, the in my opinion, from what I see, is that it's an alphabet soup. in pickleball, even more so than what we've had in tennis for years. There's so many different organizations. There's every to some extent, it's a little bit of a like the gold rush. People are rushing to make money off of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't even keep up with how many paddle companies there are nowadays, and apparel lines, and everything is branded pickleball, which is great, because it gets people excited about something. It gets them
Mhm.
off the couch and onto a court. But yeah, it's happening. We're actually this is a news. You're the first one to have this information. We're actually going to have the first ever college paddle tournament at Sensa Paddle in Nashville in mid November.
Wow.
We've got like North Alabama, UT Southern, Belmont, Midway College. There's several schools that said, "Look, we've got international students who love paddle back home. We're going to just play it one night, have some fun, let people come out and watch, make kind of use it as an exhibition." But I could see it down the road.
Yeah.
People want to compete. People want to have fun. They want to play sports. So yeah, there's always a way.
That's cool. And I'm thinking too, I get like these emails from universities always trying to fill like their rowing team. And they're always like, ooh, tennis players are such good athletes. It's okay if they've never rowed before in their life. And like, for some people, that's a cool next step and, to get
Yeah,
on a team. But to be able to say like, hey, I think I'm done with tennis, but like I'll play on a pickleball or paddle team, that would be awesome and really fun.
yeah. I think it just comes down to facilities, and as you know, I mean, one tennis court could be turned into four pickleball courts, and you're off and running. And the current system right now is a college team is three guys and three girls.
Oh,
That's
so
all
it's
you need.
co-ed too. That's even more
Yep.
fun.
And you need, I think, two courts is
Okay.
is the minimum requirement.
Wow.
So, the bar is set really low right now. So why not embrace it? And you never know what's going to happen.
Yes, exactly. I'm also thinking back to all those traumatizing like family days on the court with my parents and my sister. Like pickleball would have been way less dramatic, I think.
Yeah.
uh,
Anybody can play in a matter of time and just hours, and it's not pretty pickleball. It is what it is. But you know what? I mean, people are having fun. They're out enjoying themselves, connecting, socializing. So why not?
totally. Um, Before I let you go, let me hear a quick gear check on what you're working with on the court right now, as far as rackets, strings, and even shoes.
Yeah, so I've been really lucky. I've been part of the Adidas family for many years. I think maybe 15 years now. And so they've been very, very good to me and helping me out. I'm an Ubersonic guy. Barricades are great, but the way that shoe fits my foot is really, really good. Yeah, and then I've been with Head for probably 30 of my 35 years
Nice.
or more, something like that. They were the first company to bring me on back in the old days. Head had amazing clothing. This was in 1989 or 90 or something like that, and I got this head to toe deal, and I was like, "This is the best thing ever!" Like
Yeah.
shoes, clothes, I mean everything, rackets, and I love the new color of the Extreme. I've played Extreme Mid Plus for many many years, but they've got a couple of new things coming out in the Gravity 98. I got the teaser rackets last week. I got a new look at a Radical that's coming next year. A new look at another Gravity. So Head has done a really good job. I mean, the reality is, look, all the companies that are out there, they make really good products. Yes, I mean, Head makes great products. I just love the people that are there. But
Hmm.
I mean, Technofiber has really upped their game. I remember back in the old days, USPTA being with Print and the Print sticks. I sold so many of those in my pro shops over the years, and to see them kind of come back under the Tennis Warehouse, brand and under the umbrella is amazing. I think that's great for tennis. When you have an iconic brand like Print that comes back, and I know Ann and the crew, they've done a really good job of kind of bringing some of the oldies but goodies back, and
Hmm.
some of the colors and some of the names. I think there's a certain group of people out there that really appreciate that and really gravitate to it. But there's other companies out there that have really upped their game. I mean, you look at the Pro Tour and Yonex. I mean, they're killing it.
Yeah.
They really are, and people love the frames. So it's hard to say that there's anybody that's got a better one. It's just really you got to try the sticks, you got to try the shoes, you got to figure out what fits you, and what's going to help you be the best you can be.
Totally. And while we're talking about gear, maybe you could also give a shout to not USPTA because they're rebranded to RSPA.
Yeah.
And talk about the importance of being a member, because I feel like someone like you must be like their poster child. You came in, you learned, you're such a great advocate for this organization. So talk to me a little bit about that real quick.
Well, I've said this before. I'm Switzerland, right? I've been a member of the USPTA. Oh, I'm sorry, RSPA. It's so hard to
I know.
change that. I've been a member of both organizations for the same amount of time. I've served in different roles for both organizations over the years. I'm very fortunate to be one of maybe, I think, 15 or 16 master professionals in both organizations. I have always viewed it as that. Look, I'm gonna take what I need from either organization, and I've said this for years. Anybody asks me, so which one should I join? Are you going to be in tennis industry for years? Well, yeah, I want to make it a career. Great, join both of them. Because there's so much good information out there. There's some crossover. They have some different methodologies or just different thoughts or whatnot. That's fine. I mean, you don't drink. I mean, you drink Coke and you drink Pepsi, whatever's there. If you're looking for a cola fix, but I think if you're in the industry, if you want to become as successful as you possibly can be, why not use all the resources that are out there?
Right.
It would be insane for me or anyone else to just say, look, this one organization is going to give me everything I need. That they're all great. And they also stumble sometimes. They all fumble the ball sometimes, as we all do. But at the end of the day, it's just finding what you need at your job. And then, you know what, in 5 years, you may leave and be a totally different situation and need something else. And you had closed the door. So I think really I think we're headed in a really good direction with both organizations. I feel like being a member of both is helpful. And then also being supportive of USTA. I mean, without the three organizations working together, without communication between the three of them, we're not going to grow tennis. It takes everybody being at the table, understanding where they're all coming from, and being willing to just say, look, tennis is where we want to be.
Yeah.
And how do we make tennis better? Right now, I don't know that we're doing a really good job of that. We need to do a better job. And it's my opinion, but we've got to do a bit better job. And, because we're competing with pickleball, we're competing with paddle, we're competing with everything else that grabs people's time.
Yeah.
I mean, just their phones alone sucks up a lot of time from people, right?
No, totally.
That they could be doing something else.
Well, and even in California, I don't know if it's nationwide or just our state, but the past couple years, they've added flag football in for women's sports or girls' sports. And that's taking away from a lot of girls' tennis. So players are gravitating towards flag football. It's a lot cheaper to start. It's easier. And I know some of the local teams in our section have struggled to have enough players on their team because now they're competing with that. So even just there, it's like, come on, tennis.
Dude, come on.
Come on.
And remember, I go back to my statement I said earlier. I mean, we finally realized tennis is difficult. If you want to be decent at it, it takes time. It takes effort. It takes some pain and suffering.
Yeah, a lot.
And some of us are still suffering years and years after, in a lot of pain. But it's just I think both organizations can help each other. I think it's good, healthy competition as well. I've seen, in my travels, there's a lot of countries where they have one coaching organization and you're literally only drinking from one fountain. And I don't know that that's a great thing, because it can be, kind of skewed one direction or the other. And I think we're really lucky, and we have to embrace the fact that we have these great resources.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, closing question. What's next for you? What's on your agenda? You've got a couple, we're going into October, so you've got 3 months till the year is over. What's the rest of your year look like, and what's next on your goals list?
Yeah, we've got kids are playing. I'm leaving from here. We got practice this afternoon. We just come off of a tournament. We're hosting a tournament in Murfreesboro this weekend. So we've got another probably 4 solid weeks of college tennis stuff. In between, I've got Tennis Congress is coming up out in Tucson. I've been really lucky to be one of the faculty members and coaches for that for like the last 10 years. And, that's always such an amazing couple of days, because you have these adult tennis players who are absolutely just enthralled with tennis. They love tennis, and it's an adult tennis camp, advanced adult tennis camp, where people just want to get better, and the coaches are incredibly passionate. So getting a chance to be around passionate players, passionate coaches has always been just so dear to me. And so we got that, and we got that paddle tournament we're going to do in November in Nashville. I'm excited to see what that looks like. And yeah, just I think I've got a break in May of next year. It's my first, yeah. But you know what, though? I wouldn't have it any other way. I love what I do, and it just keeps going. You just stay on the train, you keep riding until one day they tell you can't ride anymore.
Yeah, I guess that's the final question for anyone out there, especially anyone who might be younger looking to get into the tennis industry. Any advice you would give?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest piece of advice would be just, be a sponge. Get around as many people as you can. We've got a lot of our players are on the college team that are looking to get into the tennis industry, and my message to them is, don't just look at tennis. Look at the other sports. Become proficient in the other sports. Watch people teach. Watch people play. Be a sponge. Ask a ton of questions, and then surround yourself with just really good people. And if you do that from either a mentor standpoint or just someone you can talk to, I'm really lucky. I mean, I've got a buddy of mine, MJ Garnett, who is in Memphis, Tennessee, and he's been a long time coach at a club and also coaches college tennis. And we probably talk 2 or 3 times a week, and if it's just what's going on, or, this happened at my club, or this happened at practice, and just having someone to talk to, to kind of share with. And sometimes we talk each other off the ledge. And sometimes we just, kind of run an idea that we have by each other. But, I'm lucky. I've got several of those guys and gals in my life that I can talk with about the industry and, get a perspective that I think is important. And I think, young people, you don't have to do it all on your own. You don't have to do it all right now. It is a long journey, and hopefully, one day, 35 years down the road, you're on a great podcast talking about how you got here. I think that's the goal, Yeah. Enjoy it.
Totally. No, that's awesome. I appreciate you being such a positive advocate for our sport and the growth. And like I said from the beginning, it's obvious that you love what you do, and you are an amazing role model and just ambassador for tennis. And we need more of that. So keep shining your light, please.
We're going to try, and hopefully we get to meet in real life one day here.
Yes, let's go. Yeah. Let's get something going.
And if you got some players, send them my way.
Literally.
Come on. I'm always recruiting. Always recruiting.
Hey, I got a girl going on a recruiting trip next week. She hasn't signed yet. So if you need any 2025 graduates.
There we go. See, it's connections.
It
connections
totally
here.
is. It totally is.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Bill, for joining me. And we are going to plug all of your social and and your team, because I was watching some of your team stuff. It was really fun. You have a great way of relating to your players, which is not always easy to do, especially now.
Sometimes it's a challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate you joining me so much. And as we always say at the end, happy hitting, no matter whether you're playing tennis, pickleball, or paddle.
Thank you.